president goes on to say, well, what happens if we just don't respond at all to the subpoena, I guess, or don't play ball with them? The president goes on to say, wouldn't it be better if we just told them we don't have anything here? Well, look, isn't it better if there are no documents? They've got these conversations that were memorialized by the president's attorneys. There's also this recording of him where he talks about this plan that's believed an attack plan against Iran. I mean, they've got a lot of information in this, Jonathan.
No, it is an extremely damning indictment.
That's another example of what we're talking about. But on this specific part of the indictment, these documents that are only supposed to be seen with those countries that the United States relies on for intelligence, the most important intelligence that deals with not just national security for the United States, but for the United States' allies. And so this is not just an issue for within the borders. There it is. That's the photo that this.
I'm an innocent man. We will prove that again. 7 years of proving it, and here we go again. Very unfair, but that's the way it is.
I want to talk about how crookedness just abounds with these people. It's quite astonishing how much crookedness there is.
I've said all along that of the cases out there right now, the one I'd be most concerned about if I were the former president is the Mar-a-Lago document case. It's very clear that he had no business having those documents. He was given a long time to send them back, and they were subpoenaed. And if there's any games being played there, he's going to be very exposed.
The power of these missiles and the power of a word that I refuse to say, nuclear.
You just refuse to say it, and then when it comes to the type of missiles he refuses to say, Trump knows how to build them. He's got the plans right downstairs in his basement at Mar-a-Lago.
Now, we Democrats, are accused constantly of the Trump Derangement Syndrome. Yeah, I don't really think y'all know what the symptoms of that disease are. Trump Derangement Syndrome is the idea that all of this type stuff could just be a coincidence, or could just be a witch hunt. It's all part of the cabal coming to destroy Trump and try to stop him from crushing the deep state and draining the swamp.
Trump, citing executive privilege, wanted to stop Pence from sharing details about the days leading up to the January 6 attack and Trump's pressure campaign to overturn the 2020 election.
People can be confident that we'll obey the law, we'll comply with the law.
Now, with Pence moving closer to entering the race for the White House, his testimony today could affect the legal and political fate of his potential rival.
While we're in bed with Saudi Arabia, Trump's kid got $2 billion from him. But it's all good. Crookedness does not begin to express these people. They're sick. They are deranged. They're not just on the take. There's something seriously wrong with them.
All the president's henchmen are getting in on this.
With the assistance of Smartmatic software, a backdoor is capable of flipping votes.
It was formed really by 3 Venezuelans who were very close to the dictator Chavez.
Numerous security flaws were discovered in Smartmatic software.
All my life, I dealt with the evangelicals screaming at me because I wasn't a Republican. And how could I possibly vote for those godless Democrats? What the hell happened?
Trump is looking at more than 30 counts related to business fraud in connection with a hush money payment made to adult film star Stormy Daniels shortly before the 2016 election, and if crimes were committed as a result of that action. It's the first time in U.S. history that a former or current commander-in-chief has been criminally charged. Trump's former lawyer and fixer Michael Cohen admitted to helping arrange the payments to Daniels and served prison time for federal campaign finance violations.
This is not revenge, right? What this is about accountability. He needs to be held accountable for his dirty deeds.
President Trump was still trying to find a way to win Georgia's 16 electoral votes when he got on the phone with officials in the Georgia Secretary of State's office January 2nd.
I just want to find 11,780 votes, which is one more than we have.
Now the question is whether the former president solicited election fraud in Georgia. District Attorney Fani Willis said this matter is of high priority.
There has never been a more godless president. Maybe except for the founding fathers who didn't believe in God at all. Go fig. Actually, I think Thomas Jefferson did believe in God, but he didn't believe in Jesus. He rewrote the Bible, the so-called Jeffersonian Bible, and took out all the miracles. Hard to say what he believed. He didn't believe in miracles. Which is why America wasn't built by God. It took men to build it, because it wasn't a miracle. Not men like these.
Company, I think, has lost its way in terms of the values that maybe they had when Walt established it or when it first started in Florida. So what we said was, look, we're not comfortable having this company on a pedestal joined at the hip with the state of Florida. Our values have just gone in different directions, and so we ended their self-governing status. They now have to live under the same laws as everybody else, and they have to pay their fair share of taxes. So they're suing us to try to recover their corporate welfare.
And guess what? They're about to get their wish.
Not men that are solely in it for themselves.
And I didn't do anything else either. You know what? Because I have no idea who the hell she is.
But Mr. President,
I don't know who this woman is. They said, sir, don't do it. This is a fake story, and you don't want to give it credibility. That's why I didn't go.
One thing you did do in this.
And I swear, and I've never done that, and I swear to I have no idea who the hell. She's a whack job.
Is there a process? What was your process to declassify?
There doesn't have to be a process, as I understand it. You know, there's different people say different things, but as I understand, there doesn't have to be. If you're the president of the United States, you can declassify just by saying it's declassified, even by thinking about it, because you're sending it to Mar-a-Lago or to wherever you're sending it, and there doesn't have to be a process. There can be a process, but there doesn't have to be. You're the president. You make that decision. So when you send it, it's declassified. I declassified everything.
They're just a bunch of crooks. Crookedness abounds. And some of this stuff, I mean, come on. And I'm not talking to evangelicals. I'm not even talking to Christians. I'm talking about people who are decent. People who aren't scum.
We won the election. And then they get served with subpoenas. All these subpoenas tell you the whole thing is a scam. The Mueller deal was a scam. The Russian collusion was a scam. You can ask Putin. Nobody's been rougher on Russia than Donald Trump.
Just ask Putin. He'll tell you what's what.
And maybe that's the problem. There's just not a whole lot of people at the top of the Republican Party who aren't scum themselves. The reality is, scum begot scum.
I have not done my job since I've gotten here. I can chew and walk gum at the same time. I can chew gum and walk at the same time. I have not been convicted of any crime. You insist in saying that. I will have my day to defend myself.
Judges have basically said anything goes. It doesn't matter. Anything goes. Election laws are just suggestions. So if anything goes, anything goes.
Considering who we're dealing with here is entirely, maybe even probable, not just possible.
Tale of how one of Trump's own attorneys deftly avoided being recruited into a criminal conspiracy. On June 2nd, 2022, Trump attorney Evan Corcoran goes to Mar-a-Lago to review these boxes. And he goes there, and he's the one who's going to search the storage room, find the classified documents, turn them over to the government. Now, what's happened in the intervening 2 weeks since the subpoena is that Walt Nauta and Trump have gotten rid of the bunch of boxes. Corcoran goes in, passes through, he finds 38 classified documents. He puts them in a folder. He binds them with clear duct tape. Yeah. He goes into Mar-a-Lago to meet with Donald Trump, who says, innocently, I'm sure, "Did you find anything? Is it bad?" Good?
Unbelievable.
I don't know why anybody would want to be associated with these people.
True Trump style, he wanted to be first to break the news, saying on his Truth Social platform last night, "I have been summoned to appear at the federal courthouse in Miami on Tuesday at 3 p.m. I never thought it possible that such a thing could happen to a former president of the United States. I am an innocent man."
One of the reasons he's running again is try to slow down the many criminal investigation he's at the center of right now. He's basically a bank robber on the run from the cops, and the White House is a dumpster behind an Arby's he's trying to hide in.
They talk about morals. They talk about, the culture of America being destroyed. They're destroying it.
They said during the 2016 campaign that if he becomes president, there will never be a war within weeks. And we will have wars like you've never seen before. It will happen immediately. And yet, I've gone decades without a war, the first president to do it for that long a period.
It's gone decades without a war. Even Donald Trump thinks his 4 years in office felt like decades.
And at some point, it should become obvious to even the dumbest among us.
Even Fox News cut away from his speech before it was over. Not only that, this is the cover of Trump's beloved New York Post today. You can see the only mention is all the way at the bottom. It says, "Florida man makes announcement."
In China, when I was with President Xi, I said, "President, do you have a drug problem?" No, we don't. He looked at me like I didn't know what I was doing. He said, "No, we don't have a drug. How come you don't have a drug problem?" He said, "Quick trial." What is a quick trial? I sort of knew. What is a quick trial? That's where if you get caught dealing drugs, you have an immediate and quick trial, and by the end of the day, you're executed.
They're cheering. They're cheering for quick trials and same-day executions. How sick do you have to be to clap for that? Especially in a room full of secret cokeheads. I mean, this is...
And yet, somehow, the Republicans will manage to get 40%. What did I say? 38? That's just about what Trump is polling. We'll see how it goes.
You guys, by the way, I just want to say, if you love the idea of these quick trials and immediate execution so much, what's with all the appeals and delays from your armies of lawyers for the many crimes you've been charged with? Let's get you right up in front of the judge. By the end of the day, let justice be done, right? I mean, it's...
All of those are separate charges, but they basically break out from an Espionage Act charge, which is ludicrous under the facts of this case, and I can certainly explain it, and several obstruction-based type charges, and then false statement charges, which are actually, again, kind of a crazy stretch just from the facts as we know it. So,
in a transcript of the recording obtained by CNN, Trump is discussing a classified Pentagon document about Iran. Secret. This is secret information. Look at this, he says. This was done by the military and given to me, he claims. And in a critical piece of evidence, Trump admits this. As president, I could have declassified, but now I can't.
I'm Zachariah, Lone Star Liberal. Y'all take it easy.
There's a lot to pick at eventually from the defense side, but that appears to be the charges, and it appears to be something that will get off the ground on Tuesday.